haven't had a chance to do an update on the bike build for a while, and well, shit, damn near a year. So I figured it's about time that I give some sort of update on it. I got laid off back in August, and finishing up that bike just wasn't high on my priority list. So I decided that, well, and I was getting kind of burnt out because I started having a couple little technical issues that, for the life of me, I couldn't just figure out. So I'm like, you know what? It's time to step back and give it a break. It's obviously February, and it's getting close to time to really start back into it. So I figured, you know what? I better give some sort of update on it. The issue I'm having is I'm not getting any spark out of it. Now, I tried reusing the same coil, but the plug wires where I was going to locate the coil, the plug wires weren't long enough, plus they were kind of cracked and really dry. They're extremely hard. I wanted something new, so I went and got a set of universals, the kind, they're terminated on both ends. One's a straight boot, one was a 90, and you kind of just cut it and you insert it, you put the ends on, you can crimp the ends on for like regular coil terminals or whatever, but that original coil was where it was set up where the wire was pushed into it. Well, I'm thinking it's the coil setup. I don't think I have it quite right. Never messed with it before, anything like this before, so. But I found something online where I can use, somebody else has done it, and it works fine for them, so I'm going to try it. General Motors, from the mid-90s cars, they had the individual coil packs with 2 terminals. They would operate 2 spark plugs per coil pack. Like a 4-cylinder would have 2, V6 would have 3, an 8-cylinder would have 4, kind of thing. And they said that it works fine, it works right, and it's regular posts. So, hoping that I can snag one of those for free off a buddy. If I do, I'll just pull those new plug wires out of that old coil and put terminals on the ends of them. Hopefully that'll fix the problem. I had to replace the stator and such on it because the original one was corroded as hell. Everything's going good so far. Battery box is together. Pictures, video of the actual bike will come after my little commentary here. So I'm hoping that it's the coil. If it's not the coil, it's probably the CDI box. If it's the CDI box, they don't make those. So I'm going to have to pay a couple $100 for some aftermarket job, unless I can stumble across somebody who's kind enough to give me an idea of another bike that I could use one from, or something else cheap, whatever. Again, I'm trying to keep it as cheap as possible. I'm up to just over $1,000 in completing the build so far. Other than that issue, I ran into a snag with the front turn signals. I had to take the little bullet turn signals I had gotten for it. They were a single filament job where they didn't work as running lights and turn signals. They were single filament, so it would just be like the headlight only and then the turn signals. Can't use it. I tried to retain as much of the original factory wiring harness as I could to simplify wiring, and it just didn't work out. So I have to get 2 front turn signals that work both, and go from there. I still have to do a front fender. Kind of irritated about it, but from my understanding, being the fact that I'm going after a reconstructed title for this, in the state of Pennsylvania, you have to have a front fender for inspection, because they have to have a picture of the front, the sides, and the rear, all 4 sides basically, so the state can look at it and verify that it's safe to ride, whatever, that it's legal. Doesn't mean I'm going to keep the damn thing on there when I'm done with it, but Front fender's got to be done still. Still have to upholster the seat. Debating on that right now because that seat's really just a steel pan. That's not very uncomfortable. I haven't had it on the road yet, so we'll see what happens there. I might say, gotta get it upholstered. Whatever. Still gotta run the fuel line. That's not a big deal. I still gotta figure some choke lever. The levers, the linkage on the carburetor is there, obviously, but I gotta figure out a very short pull cable and bracket or a wire, lever, something. Excuse me. Brake rod for the rear brake. The one I made for it, it was too weak. The piece of rod, I had to stretch the original rod, and the piece that I used is a little too flexible. I'm just not getting any force out of it, so I got to make something else. I still got to finish the exhaust. I have a neighbor up the road had 2 of the A model CM400s. One that he had got handed down to him from a family member, and one he bought. That's the automatic one. And the one he bought actually had a real nice set of like straight pipes. They were a relatively small diameter cone, no baffles. His bike wasn't all that loud. It sounded good. I mean, I don't like them super loud. It's just annoying. But it was loud enough and crisp enough to really kind of make it sound good. So he gave them to me because he wasn't going to use them. He wanted to put regular mufflers back on because he doesn't like them loud. So I still got to stretch the exhaust pipe a little bit and then put those on. The last thing I got to do is, since I'm not running a single tail light and 2 turn signals on the back, I'm doing like a lot of the Harley baggers. They have just the 2, like a car would or a trailer. They have the 2 lights, one on each side. It does everything. They're the running lights, the brake lights, and the turn signals all in one. Well, wasn't sure exactly how I was going to do that, and I was looking on some different forums and things online, and somebody suggested to someone else using a trailer wiring adapter, converter box, whatever you want to call it, that they use for, like my Ranger, my 94 Ranger I own, it has separate turn signals, where a trailer, the turn signals and the brake lights, tail lights, it's all one setup. So you have to have a converter for it. Well, went and bought one, good brand and all. Of all things, when I turn the key on, I got power to everything. Engine turns over, sounds good, good compression and all that. The problem is, when I turn the ignition on, I'm getting the marker lights. I'm not getting brake or turn signals. Now, I have traced everything. I am getting power to the box. Each circuit is sending power. I'm not getting the turn signals to flash. I'm not sure if that's a wiring issue or whether it's the fact that the front turn signals aren't connected right now or what. I'm not sure. That's another issue that I have to kind of figure out. But it might also be because of that box. I'm thinking there's an issue with the box. I might have gotten something faulty from the get-go. I'm not sure. But I know I have it right by the schematic on the packaging. And, but like I said, I'm getting power to the brake light switch, and from the brake light switch to the box. I'm getting power. I'm not getting power from the box to the lights. The lights work. They're LEDs. I've tested those too. They're a separate ground, so they're not grounded through the chassis. But I do have them. Well, I think I have a rubber gasket on those, but it does have a separate ground wire. They're a 3-wire system, so it should be grounded. It shouldn't. No, that might be. I don't know. Now I'm thinking about it. It's been a while since I worked on it. I gotta go down there and double check again. I mean, I have to be getting some ground because the regular marker lights are coming on. Anyway, that's my issue so far. That's what's left. Everything else is done. The bike is painted the way I want it. I love it. I really like the way it turned out. Yeah, hopefully, I'm not going to go any further on anything else until I get the ignition figured. I got to get the spark figured out. That's my priority, number one, I guess. Once I'm getting spark from it, then I can go ahead. I'll go ahead and work on the rest of the wiring, the brake lights, and all that. The brake rod, I don't think it'll be that big a deal. I just got to get a heavy enough rod, because the way it's set up, I have to have a little bit of a angle, a little bit of a bend to get it, because of the way the swing arm is, the angle of it, and where the brake, because I'm not using, well, obviously it's got the foot pedal on. My mind's going. Yeah, where it's the way it's set up, it's got to have a bend in it, and I don't know, just got to figure it out. The last couple things, real close, really close, but like I said, I got kind of burned out and laid off with no cash to go spare, and I was like, yeah, it's time to just kind of put this thing on the back burner. So now that I'm done with my ramble on what's going on, what I have left, well, the next thing will be showing you what it looks like. Hope you like it.
Okay, there she is, boys and girls. It's kind of dim. Luckily, I have some pretty big windows in my basement, but you can see it's turned out pretty good. License plate mount, fenders mounted, iron cross LED tail lights. My seat pan I don't have sitting on there right at the moment. Brakes are working, bled and everything. Figured I'd keep the old style mirror. Battery box. Wish I had it out so you could really see it. Mounted the rectifier down low. Coil, which like I said, I'm going to try something different. I'm not getting any spark out of it. The wiring harness is open right now because of all the testing and shit I had been doing. I will have it rewrapped later. You can see I actually used part of a harness for the wiring coming out of the battery box. I used part of the harness, a connector, from under the hood of a parts Ford Ranger that I had. It had like 15 or 20 circuits, and it was perfect to wire everything through that battery box. Then I have a ground wire coming out of it, and on the back side here I have the oh no, that's not the ground. I'm sorry, I have it backwards. This is the ground. The orange wire over here is the ground, and this is the battery going out to the starter. Clutch working good. I still have to extend the pipes. I still got to make the brake lever. That front fender, which ticks me off. Nice old school, smaller sealed beam headlight. I think the wheels look really good with this flat black paint scheme I'm going with. Again, the fucking lighting isn't the greatest. Kept the stock pegs and shifter and everything. Got my material for the padding. There's the seat pan under there. The front fender I'm going to use is under here. Here's one of the megaphones I was talking about. Hollow, but I gotta clean them up a little bit. But nonetheless, let's kick on the key, and you can see LEDs work beautiful. There's the iron crosses lit up. Oh, that reminds me, I gotta tell you, this I did a boo-boo. It's minor boo-boo. I wired the headlight kind of backwards. When it's flipped to high beam, it's on low beam. When I flip it to low beam, it comes on to high beam. Never mind it. As long as I remember it, it's alright. But if you take a listen, oh, I had it wrong way. Turns over beautiful. So I'm in a pretty good way, other than those couple little issues. But yeah, there we are. See you whenever, hopefully when I get it running. It might be a little while yet though. Alright.